Have you ever thought you should be making more money and creating more wealth than you are at the moment? Being smart with money and investing as early as you can is one of the smartest things you can do for yourself and your financial future. I'm Harry from Money Your Concern, and here are 5 reasons why you should start investing right now. Firstly, and this is a hugely significant factor in improving your future wealth, it is to allow the impact of compound interest to start as early as possible. Compound interest refers to if you earn a return on an investment after a certain period of time, then if you decide to reinvest this return into another investment or the same investment, that will give you an even bigger return because you've invested more money to begin with. Then, if you continue to repeat this process, your income will keep growing and growing, and this will grow exponentially. So the longer you leave this on, the more money you will be making in the long run. In order to see the true effects of this, I urge you to play around with this using a compound calculator. This calculator estimates how much you will be worth later on if you invested and reinvested your income over a certain amount of period of time. I think you will be truly amazed with what you could find. You'll see that just after a few years, your growth will be promising, but it won't be not anything special. Then if you add this on over a period of 30 or 40 years, your wealth that you could have from just investing a reasonable amount to begin with will become astronomical. So for an example, I added a graph. This graph shows if you're able to start investing at, say, the age of 25, and you started with £10,000, put in an extra £100 extra in a month. And I believe this is pretty achievable if you can continue to do this throughout your life. If this was invested at a modest rate of 8% a year, which is around about the average sort of stock market return each year, if you reinvested your profits, by age 65, you'd have accumulated £594,000. However, if you had started investing the same strategy, but 10 years later at the age of 35, and then did the same and invested until you're 65, you'd have less than half of the profits at £259,387. This proves that it's absolutely necessary for you to begin learning to invest as soon as you possibly can in order to get the maximum gains. My second tip as to why you need to start investing as soon as possible is that you should make your mistakes whilst you have less responsibilities. As investors, we all make mistakes, especially when starting out. You won't always choose the perfect investments, you'll miss out on gains and sometimes even lose money on certain investments. It is important to remember, when you're investing your money, your investment can go up as well as down, and this is just natural. It is therefore much more beneficial to learn from these mistakes as early as possible. This is when you have less financial pressures from either having a mortgage or family to feed at home. Losing money is always a lot easier when you don't have much of it to lose, as long as the loss won't affect your living standards or the lives of the people around you. However, if you're watching this and you do have a mortgage or have a family, then there still are great opportunities to learn to invest. Even if you're 30, 40 or way older, you just need to start as soon as possible. Particularly for this point though, there is one thing that I think would be good to add. In your case especially, I think it would be useful to put aside some extra funds as an emergency fund just to help you stay afloat. So a good tip here would be to set aside in cash, so not in investments, at least 6 weeks of your living costs. So that means if you had to stop work and you still need to live and feed your family and you had no choice but not to work, would you be able to still cover all your costs for 6 weeks with this money you've set aside? Because you don't want to be in a situation where one day you need to sell investments early at a loss in order to feed your children. For you younger listeners, although your living costs are likely to be a lot less, I also recommend you do the same. It's good to keep aside at least 6 weeks of costs aside for similar reasons. As we know, life puts us all through difficult times, no matter who you are. I mean, just look at this latest virus outbreak. This third tip refers to the quicker you can get into the investment game, the quicker you can start learning about how to invest your money most effectively. Developing the right strategy that works best for you, within your interests, temperament, and special knowledge. The best way to really learn something is to actually get involved and get started. Hopefully after watching this, you'll finally be interested to start investing for yourself. Here on Money Your Concern, we plan to post loads of content on different styles of investing. There are also plenty of resources online which you can also find, which you'll find all different strategies which are reasonable ways of investing. It's good to start early just to find what really works for you, what best matches what your goals are, and how much risk you're willing to take. Online, you will learn everything you need to know about investing money. Once you have this baseline knowledge, I believe the best way to learn is to choose a strategy you like and get your feet wet with a relatively insignificant amount of money to begin with. Then from there, you can make your mistakes and grow and learn which strategy most interests you. The more interested you are, the more likely you're going to learn about it. For the next point, it's important to notice that the average rate of inflation in most countries is often around 2 to 3% a year. This means the value of the money you own will have less spending power in future. So holding cash, which means something that's not invested into anything, is one of the worst things you can possibly do for your financial future, even though so many people do it thinking they're being smart with their money. In general, over the past 30 years, the stock market prices have risen by over 400%. Over the same period of time, UK house prices have increased by 428%. This massively beats the rate of inflation. It also shows that the price of investments in general are frequently higher over time. So more than likely, the sooner you get involved investing, the sooner you'll be to increase your wealth and stay on top of inflation. One thing useful to add on this, though, is that the price of investments do fluctuate, and that's completely normal. This is due to different levels of supply and demand, which controls the price of something. For example, in a time of nationwide financial difficulty, prices of shares in the stock market will drop drastically. It is a useful skill to be able to recognize when investments are becoming overpriced and will likely come down due to their lack of affordability or relevance to the current price. So although this fluctuation does happen, in the long run, the stock market increases on average around 8% a year. This means if you invest now and hold your money in that investment for more than 5 to 10 years, you are likely going to beat inflation and build wealth regardless of short-time occurrences. This is as long as you make wise choices on your investments. And always look to try and buy investments which are on sale, which are cheaper than what they should actually be valued at. You will learn this over time as you become more interested in your certain investment strategy. Finally, the earlier you start investing, the faster you can reach your financial freedom. Do you remember reason 1? The power of compound interest means that the value of investments reinvested will grow exponentially over time. So investing even 5 years earlier will mean that you have far greater wealth later in life. As the value of your investments grow, so will your passive income from your dividends or rental income if you're investing in property. As this grows more and more rapidly, you could eventually reach a point where this income can cover the costs of your living, leaving you in a place where you no longer need to work to live. From here, you have the ability to choose what you do with your day. It doesn't matter if you go to work or go to the beach, you can do what you like. This is what financial freedom is. Whether you aspire to reaching financial freedom or simply just have less financial pressure on in your life, investing is an absolute must. As shown in these 5 points, sooner is definitely better than later to get started, even if it means putting away a small amount of money each month. So I hope this has inspired you to take action and get started with investing. It truly is such an interesting concept and will increase your financial future massively. I'd even go as far to say that it's the most important thing you can do for your finances. If this has inspired you, that's amazing. Congratulations, and I really recommend that you stay tuned with Money Your Concern, where you'll find out loads of different tips on investing and different strategies. You may also find the Money Your Concern website very useful at moneyyourconcern.com. There I have plenty more information on there already, and you'll also find my recommendations of books and different courses which have really helped to develop my investing knowledge. If you have any questions about investing or how to get started, feel free to comment below and I'll be more than happy to comment back and answer any questions that I can give. If you enjoyed the video, please feel free to like the video and subscribe to the channel where you'll find much more financial information over time. So thanks for listening and stay tuned.